Good evening and welcome to a very special edition of Larry King Live. Our guest is the 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton, and we're at the William Jefferson Clinton Center, the Clinton Library in Little Rock, Arkansas, on the banks of the Arkansas River. And we open with the obvious question. The stimulus bill passed today. The President signed it in Denver. It's going to work?
I think it will do what it's designed to do. I think it's important that the American people understand what it's designed to do. It's supposed to do three things. Number one, put money in people's pockets who are in trouble now. Extended unemployment benefits, modest tax cuts, increase in food stamps. That will help grocery stores and other businesses and keep Americans who are good, honest, hardworking people afloat. Second thing it's supposed to do is give a chunk of money to state and local governments, primarily for education and health. That is designed to make sure that they don't have to either have big tax increases or lay 1 million people off. Either one in this economy would be bad. The third thing we'll do is to create jobs through existing road and bridge contracts, through rail improvements, through modernization, and especially through clean energy and energy efficiency. So I think that given how fast it had to be done, compromises that had to be made, it's quite a good bill, and I think it will do what it's designed to do. But it's important that the American people understand that this is sort of our bridge over troubled water. The economy cannot come back until the fundamental problem is addressed, which is declining asset values, starting with the homes, which have compromised the banks and their ability to lend. So in the next couple of weeks, the Treasury Secretary will announce, or the President will announce, plans to try to save more people who are in their homes and can't pay their current mortgages by redoing the mortgages. They will announce plans, I think, to take some of these so-called toxic assets that are underwater off the bank books temporarily, hold them in a government entity, and then put them back onto the market when the economy picks up. And then I think they'll offer some more liquidity, some more cash to banks. But this time, unlike last year, I think in order to get that money, they'll have to promise to lend it.
Do you have confidence in all those areas?
I do. I think that this is the right strategy for this time. But it's really important that the American people understand, number one, the stimulus is not just a jobs bill, it's also stopping layoffs or tax increases and putting cash into the hands of people who need it. Number two, that it's a bridge over troubled waters, that the economy can't come back till we get a floor on the deflation in asset values and make the banks healthy again, because it's a private economy. So they've got a plan to deal with all this, and I think it will work. I think if I were there, I'd be doing something similar. I think that they're good people, they're smart people, and they know what they're doing.
John McCain and others on the other side of the ledger are saying that he didn't come forward enough to the Republicans. He didn't make them part of this Easter basket.
Well, I disagree with that. I think the only way he could have gotten a lot of them to vote for him would be to accept their economic theory. Their economic theory is why we're in this mess in the first place.
Lower taxes.
Yeah, they wanted lower taxes, particularly on upper income people. We did that for 8 years. We doubled the debt of the country. We wound up in 8 years with about 2 million jobs, all of whom were government jobs, no private sector jobs. The whole thing was an abject failure, just as it was in the 12 years before when we tried it. So I think that the moderate Republicans who voted with the president, the senators from Maine, Senator Collins and Senator Snowe and Senator Specter from Pennsylvania, have a much more sophisticated view of the economy. And it may be that there's a political strategy involved here. It may be that they do what they did to me in '93 and just say no, and this is the end of the world, and they think there'll be some gains. The evidence is they may get a short-term gain in the next congressional election or not. But over the long run, you don't gain by not contributing to the solution.
Do you resent it when the Bush people say that this problem started with you? It started in your administration.
Well, they don't have much evidence for that. I always answer, does anyone seriously believe if the team I had in place had been in place for the last 8 years that this would have happened? And the answer to that is no. We had a much more vigorous regulatory environment with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We were watching these derivatives. I do think we should have done more on derivatives. But this suggestion they have that because we required banks for the first time to live up to the requirements of the Community Reinvestment Law, which says you're supposed to loan money back to the people who deposit money in your bank, contributed to this, I just think is factually wrong. If you look all over America, the community banks, the ones that reinvested in their communities, were not the people that caused this problem. They did well.
Is it wise for Obama and his people to keep saying how bad it is? His press secretary the other day said, hasn't hit rock bottom yet, it's going to get worse. Is that a good idea?
Well, I think it's always good to shoot straight with the American people. And here's why they're saying that. In the last 5 months, some $30 trillion in asset wealth has disappeared worldwide. Declining stock values, declining values of oil and gas and gold and all kinds of minerals and metals and other assets. That is more than twice America's annual income and more than half the world's annual income. So there's going to be an echo effect, and there is no economic model from which the Obama people or anyone else can tell you exactly when the bottom will be reached. The only counsel I would have on the other side is that we should always remember this, and the president, I think, reflects this. People have been betting against America since we started. George Washington's got a bunch of freezing soldiers. They don't even have shoes in the winter. Everybody that's bet against America has lost money. We're going to come back from this. So I would like him to say, we haven't hit bottom yet, but we're going to come out of this.
We'll be right back with the former President Bill Clinton. We'll talk about blackberries, and other things. Don't go away.